education on the table, particularly charter schools. And how, whether you want to talk about the role, what you see the role of charter schools in the improvement of education in the city. Let's do this at 60 seconds.
There we go. Being a mother of 3 children, one of the things that I have been faced with is finding out what are the best educational choices for each one, because even though the ingredients going into those children are the same, the outcome is completely different. And so when it comes to what is going to be the best educational choice, I am in favor of school choice. And for that, when it comes to charter schools, which you had mentioned, I would be in support of those schools, but they have to be held to the same standards as all the schools that we have here. But one of the other things that I'd be in favor of is also some alternative forms of education, focusing on trades and technology. We've got to make sure that we have skilled labor force still to make sure that our infrastructure here within our city and around the country is strong, but also be competitive in our global market when it comes to technology.
Thank you, Michael Diaz.
Back when I was in college, I worked with Shoshone Indian kids, and all I ever worried about at the end of the evening with them was whether or not they learned anything. So when it comes to charter schools and public versus private schools, I went to a public school. I graduated from a public school here in the city of Chicago. I went to 3 different public schools. I graduated from a Catholic high school, so I understand the differences in education in the Valley. At the end of the day, I'm worried. I want my child, I want my son, I want my daughter to get a quality education. That's it. That's it. As far as type of education, we got to rethink the classroom. We got to look at block scheduling. That's where you have 2.5 hours maybe of math instead of 30, 40 minutes of math. We need to rethink. We rethink the way we engage students in our classroom. And I'm a proponent of experiential learning. We need to get businesses and folks involved in schools to prepare our students for the jobs of today and tomorrow.
John Garrido, charter schools education.
There's well, the first question is, charter schools, are they better than the regular public schools? And from everything I've seen, it shows no. Some are better, some are worse, just like some public schools are better, some are worse. I think what we need to look at is, how do we fix our neighborhood schools, our public schools? Fix CPS first. And CPS spends about $14,000 per student in the city of Chicago. Only $6,200 of that makes it actually to the classroom, and that includes the teacher's salary and benefits. The other $7,800 is for administration. And just try to do a search and see if you can see where that money's going. It's extremely difficult. I think we need to take a look at where that money is being spent and funnel that money to the classroom. We need to fix our Chicago public schools before we start resorting to charter schools.
John Marino.
So charter schools are not the answer to education. We've seen study after study show that on average they don't produce better outcomes than neighborhood schools. They have a role in the system, and groups like Youth Connection Charter Schools, which works with students that have dropped out of high school, and then we need to pull back in, helps get them back on track and getting kind of that one-on-one kind of education. Those are the kinds that I would support, and I've talked to them, and the first question I have is, will you show us your books? Because if you're taking public dollars, we need to be able to see, we need the transparency, and that is not something that any charter school has done so far. What I've done in the last 4 years is make sure that the top tier schools that we do have, our elementary schools across the 45th Ward, are the highest performing in the city. We need to continue to support them. We brought 22 classrooms to alleviate the overcrowding in 3 different schools.
Thank you. Oh,